He had those big hands and he throw those pump fakes with one hand like this. Pump fake, boom, boom. He had those huge mitts. When he turned 40, he was relying on old man buckets. You know that old head at the park, mid-action, walk around. Next thing you know, they're under the basket, looking like they're about to take a play off. And then they just turn around and call for the ball. And they get the ball and it's a layup right here. Like, Jordan had a lot of old head baskets. What's good, YouTube? We back with another classic today. Before we get started, you guys know the drill. Make sure you guys subscribe to the page. We almost at 500 subs. That's what I'm shooting for, 500 subs. Get on the winning team. And without further ado, let's skip the boring stuff. Let's get right into the video. LeBron James is 40 years old. He has 49,999 points. He's about to become the first NBA player in history to have 50,000 points. But how does this 40-year-old version of LeBron compare to the 40-year-old version of Jordan? I want to take a deeper look into the numbers of Jordan turning 40 and his career post 40 versus LeBron turning 40 and his post 40 stats. This is a stat-based video. When it comes to the GOAT debate, I personally believe that Jordan is the GOAT, but LeBron is the best basketball player, if that makes any sense. I don't even know if that makes sense, but it just sounds right to say because they both are GOATs. Like, they both have to be acknowledged. You can't acknowledge one and put the other down. That's not what this video is going to be about. We're just looking at raw, objective numbers. Who you have as the GOAT, that's on you. Michael Jordan, obviously, we know he has the argument of the rings. He won. He had the most success. But he also had the good coach, Phil Jackson. He also had the good system, triangle offense, Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, Steve Kerr, Ron Harper. Michael came into a stable situation in the league, made a name for himself early. He made a name for himself before the situation got stable. That's what people have to remember. And LeBron more so was drafted into some chaos, right? He turned Cleveland into a functioning franchise. The red carpet wasn't laid out for this kid. He had people on his own team hating on him. The big name coming out of high school played a big part in how he was perceived when he first came into the league. People thought that he was a golden child. People thought that he was untouchable. People thought that the hype was too loud, right? Darius Miles famously is, now he's doing his thing in the podcast world. But Darius Miles back then, he was a LeBron hater. He's on national television literally admitting that this kid is going to come in and we ain't changing nothing for him. Generational talent is going to come in and nothing changes for us. He said that. Over the course of their careers, they both saw a lot of success. LeBron, 4 MVPs. Jordan, the best scorer of all time. These guys had the accolades. They had the eye test. They had the respect, the admiration. Both guys were feared in their eras. It just was two different times. Something you have to keep in mind when I'm going through this argument is Michael Jordan took a lot of things personally. You guys all saw the memes, and I took that personally. I think that in his own sick, twisted way, the only something that MJ could do, he took Father Time and turning 40 personally, which I don't know how you take that. That's a natural occurrence in life. In life, you're going to get older. Every 365 days, you're going to turn 1 year older. That's nothing that we can do. We're not putting that on you. That's just how life works. So I think that Jordan took turning 40 personally because his first 5 games since turning 40, they were incredible. He was on an absolute tear. Jordan's first 5 games looked like 20, 43 and 10 rebounds, 30, 25, 35 and 11 in 50 minutes. His coach played him 50 minutes. Guarantee you that was something that Jordan had no problem with. He was averaging around 20, 21 points per game. And then since turning 40, he kind of hiked it up a bit. Why is that worth mentioning? It's because at this point, Jordan knew it was his last season. This is what I call empty the tank mode. Empty the tank mode is when you know you're on your last legs. It's Kobe Bryant in his last game, 60 points. He didn't play like that all season. His legs wasn't under him all season. But when you know you're at the end, you say, man, F it. I'm going to give everything I have because there's nothing. Why would I save anything? Why am I going to save myself when I know that this is it for me? I'm putting it all out there. So you can have those stretches where you're playing at an abnormal rate, at an abnormal pace compared to everything else because you know that that's it. I'm going to hang it up after this. Every vet knows that feeling. I played 9 years professionally. I wasn't necessarily an OG, but I was an OG. When I was playing, I still had enough in the tank to be doing that on a consistent basis. If you look at my numbers, there's no real drop-off. I'm full-fledged. You're 31 years old. You're full-fledged. Jordan was in empty the tank mode. Now, LeBron, at the time of this video, LeBron is coming off his best 5-game stretch since turning 40, but he's still able to have that output at such a high rate, there's really no best stretch. Like, he's just sprinkling in 40-point performances. Like, his last 5 games, right? 40 points, 25 points, 27 and 12, 33 and 17, 28 and 13. Last game, he had only 17 points on 6 of 17 shooting, 1 for 6 from the 3. But that's because he's in that transition phase trying to let Luka find himself. He's trying to let Luka find himself. Every time he grabs the ball, he gives it right to Luka, man. Listen, go ahead, find your rhythm. And it's working. The last 2 games, Luka Doncic is averaging 30. But that's his brilliance. You might say, hey, how are you lining up these 2 GOATs, man? What's the criteria? Well, the criteria is Jordan played 30 games at age 40. LeBron is up to 27 games at age 40. Jordan played all 82 games, right? That's a good argument on that side. Jordan played all 82 at age 40, but that's an empty the tank mode. When you got a sore ankle, a bruised knee, and a bad hip, but you know you only have 1 more season left in you, you play. I'll get warm in the first quarter. Play me 50 minutes. You play. Bron is still in perseverance, fine wine, aging like fine wine mode. He's not necessarily trying to empty it all in this last season. Like, he wants to go. I think he can play until 43. When Jordan was at 40, like, that was it. Everybody knew that was it. Everybody always says, oh, LeBron, he's load managing. But this is the argument for load management. I'm able to look like this at 40. He only missed 4 games this season. The Lakers played 59. He played 55. Think about that. Jordan, 39 minutes a game. LeBron, 34 minutes a game. Jordan was emptying a tank. And we're going to get into the raw numbers real quick. 22 points a game, 7 rebounds a game for Michael Jordan at 46% shooting since turning 40. LeBron since turning 40. 26, 8, and 8. 26, 8, and 8. What was the joke on Bron? Bron was a 27, 7, and 7 merchant. Every year of his career, he averaged 27, 7, and 7. Now he's scoring 1 less point, but he's doing more on the glass. He's getting his guys involved more. 1 + 1 assist + 1 rebound. 26, 8, and 8 since turning 40 at 54% shooting. 42% from the 3. 42% from the 3. Jordan still played in the era where inefficient pull-up twos were still prevalent in the game. He shot a lot of long twos. I'm not going to look at his three-point percentage and judge it too hard. It was at 22%. But that's not the end of the world because, like I said, it was a different game. When you look at the scope of both of their careers, right? What's the one thing people say about LeBron? They say LeBron, he only has a longevity stats, right? He took so long to pass Jordan, pass Karl Malone, and pass those guys. He took a long time to get there. Jordan did it in a short amount of time. But when you're having this conversation about age 40 stats, who aged better, you have to factor in the fact that LeBron has been playing and active his whole career up until that point. Jordan took a couple seasons off. If you look at the minutes played, now in this particular season, Jordan played more minutes. Like I said, empty the tank mode, 39 minutes a game. Bron is at 34 minutes a game. He's more so giving you high-level output in spurts. He comes in with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. He goes out with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and he comes back in with 4 minutes in the fourth. So you see what I'm saying? Like, he's really in perseverance mode. But over the scope of a whole career, man, this man has almost 50,000 points. 50,000 points. You know how much workload that is? You know how much offensive burden he carried over the course of a 22-year career? 50,000 points. He was the man every season for the past 22 years. 50,000 points. Jordan has 38,279 points. Yeah, he was the man, but you did 12,000 less. Whatever Bron did, you did less. So by age 40, you should be fresher. But you're not. Also, winning basketball. Jordan at age 40, plus minus, he was a negative 40. Fitting. Bron, plus minus, at 40. 77 plus. He's the point forward on a number 2 team in the West. And I just want to give a random shout out to John Stockton. John Stockton, since turning 40, he was a plus 295. Even throughout his later years, he's a true winning basketball player. Let's go to the worst stretch. What's the worst performing stretch since Jordan turned 40? He had a 3-game stretch where he had 21 points on 9 for 27 shooting. 4 points, and then 10 points. The only time LeBron scored under 18 points was the last game, and like I said before, it's because he's trying to get integrated with Luka. But LeBron's worst game since turning 40 has been a 17, 9, and 5, where he looked fresh. He's catching bodies. He's catching lobs. He's running the court. He's making the game look easy. He's just deferring to somebody right now because it was a monster mega trade mid-season. I'm a hooper, so I can't just give you the numbers. Let's look at the game. Let's look at the eye test. Who passed the eye test? Or who had a higher score on the eye test? if you watch the tape, like, here's the thing about Jordan. Jordan was known for being the most quick, twitchy freak athlete of the time, right? Like, when I watch Jordan play, like, I'm like almost shocked at how fast his first step is. Like, they called him the Black Thunder, right? Like his first step is literally like lightning. Like, it's so freakishly fast. His explosiveness, when he leaped off the ground, it looked easy and smooth, but it's so fast. Like, he got off the floor so fast, right? His second jump is faster than your first jump. Like, he's jumping twice before you can jump once. Like, he didn't even look like he belonged on the court with these guys because athletically he was just so twitchy. So when Jordan turned 40, 60% of his twitch is still better than a lot of people's 100%. So he only had access to about 60, 65% of his first step, but that's still really good. He's still getting by prime defenders. So that first step was there. Now, when Jordan got a little bit older, he was always a pretty crafty player. You know, he had those big hands and he'd throw those pump fakes with one hand like this, throw the pump fake, boom, boom. He could pump fake with one, boom, 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 because he had those huge mitts, right? So he was always crafty, but when he turned 40, he was relying on old man buckets. You know that old head at the park, mid-action, they'll walk around. Next thing you know, they're under the basket. They're looking like they're about to take a play off. And then they just turn around and call for the ball. And they get the ball and it's a layup right here. Like, Jordan had a lot of old head baskets. Like, he was relying on old head tactics. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't necessarily getting 25 just off of pure raw skill athleticism. Like, he had to rely on the little craftiness. But one thing that didn't go, one thing that will never go, is his fadeaway touch. So anytime he got into his one dribble pull up, shot fake, one dribble pull up, shot fake, pull up. Anytime he got into that type of action, it was good money. Like, his touch is undeniable. I'm sure if I played him one-on-one right now, he could get 11 points just off that pull up, that fadeaway little, you know, the iconic stuff, the iconic Jordan fade. He still has that intact. And that's how he got to 22 points a game. But when we talk about eye test and we talk about LeBron, this man is 40 years old and still catching bodies. This man is legitimately catching bodies at 40 years old. He still looks like an athletic anomaly, right? The thing about LeBron was, how can somebody that tall, that strong, be that fast and that explosive? He was the highest jumper. He was the fastest runner. He was one of the strongest. How do you have everything? Like, he's supposed to have one or two. He's supposed to be really fast with bounce, Zach LaVine. Or he's supposed to be really strong, but you can have a quick twitch like Zion. Or you can be fast end to end like Allen Iverson. You're not supposed to have all three. All three combinations is crazy. So that was LeBron in his prime athletic years. But since turning 40, he still looks like an athletic anomaly because he's only stronger now. He's still jumping and dunking, like I mentioned. He's still catching bodies. And more importantly, he's still adding to his game. Like, he's coming up with new moves. Like, this little dribble into the paint and fade away and shoot on the way down, like, that only came about last season. Like, he's still adding stuff. He added a three-point shot. He's shooting the tray ball better than he has ever done in his career. 42% is crazy, bro. He's adding still. He's not declining and trying to find, like, crafty ways where I can be lazy and get buckets. And I think more than anything that helps his case is the defensive buy-in. Like, he's engaged. You know, and that's one thing I'll give Jordan. Like, Jordan always gave a damn. He always cared. 40 years old, he was diving on loose balls, fighting for 50-50 balls. Like, Jordan cares. LeBron, that's one knock you could give him. Is like, sometimes it looks like he don't care. I talked about the perseverance, but sometimes it comes off as, yo, you don't care as much as us. You're not willing to put it all on the line. So for that knock, I can't say anything about that. But right now, oh, he's bought in. I don't know what the old man and the three, JJ Redick, has done to Bron, what he's saying to him, but Bron is bought in. Bron is making rotations. He's like diving on loose balls. He's always had the chase downs, but now it's not just the chase downs. Now he's getting back on defense. If he takes a bad shot, he runs back on defense. When was the last time we seen that from Bron? We all know if Bron used to take a bad shot, he put his head down, theatrics, look at the ref, hey, and the other team is playing 5-on-4. You're not seeing that as much now. He's getting back on defense. He's trying to make a statement defensively. So at 40 years old, you got to give it to him. What we're seeing from him is so great, and there's no way you can try to downplay it. We've truly, truly never seen anything like this. No matter what you can say about the LeBron versus Jordan debate, or you can try to take away his finals appearances versus wins and say that, you know what, you can never be the GOAT because you didn't win enough in the final, whatever they say to try to knock him. But you can't take this away. Since he came into the league, he has every scoring record. He was the fastest to 5,000, the fastest to 10,000, the fastest to 20,000, the fastest to 30,000, fastest to 40,000. He's going to be the first to 50,000. The man's a bucket. The man doesn't have holes, gaping holes, pause, in his game. Well, that's just me. That's my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. How do you guys think Jordan was when he was 40 plus? I want to hear from people that were active basketball fans when Jordan turned 40. I want to hear stories about what that was like. From your fans' perspective, what did it look like watching it every day? And what was the narratives that people were creating, not just in the media, but just your friends? Like, what was everybody saying? Because obviously now we're in this time. Everybody knows what everybody's saying about LeBron. What was the word on Jordan back then in the culture? Not in the media. Forget media. The media was controlled anyway. In the culture, what did they say about Jordan? Let me know in the comments. But more importantly, if you like the video, like the video. If you got a comment on the video, comment on the video. And if you subscribe to me, I'll subscribe to you. Peace.